I go to attendees, the participants. Me.
Oh, all right, guys. I'm getting my technology ready. So hello, Beth and Brooke Meller. All right, Alyssa Pianka, I see you there. Promote to panelist. All right, Alice. Nice to see you guys. If you want to take a second and put in the chat where you're from, and if there's a tornado going on in your life today, there's a tornado here. Well, I think we're clear.
Okay, go down to more.
All right. So we are just setting
live on custom stream.
We're going to make this on Facebook too. I'm super pumped about it. I've been practicing all day, guys. Oh, look at it. All right. Cash flow is my favorite. I had a client in last night and we worked her money stuff. We decided we were going to save some money in her working capital account, which I'm going to tell you guys about. And it all worked. The math worked. And it was so exciting for me. It's like my favorite thing to do ever. All right. So for those of you guys who don't know me, my name is Brie Sodano, and I am the founder of From Sheep to Shark and a personal finance expert. And so I've been in the business like 5-6 years now. And I love it. It's my favorite. All right. So we are just about to get started. We have about 3 minutes to go. So again, if you want to take a second and put your name in the chat, let me know where you're from. How's the weather where you're at? That'd be great. Or if you want to put in the chat, let me know like your biggest money problem. I'm going to be taking questions at the end. So if you have any questions, not necessarily about cash flow, but if you want to throw something up in the, if there's something that you want to make sure that we get to, please feel free, go ahead and put it in the chat right now before we get started. We will be getting started in about 2.5 or 3 minutes. 2.5, 3 minutes. I see we have some new people. So my name is Brie Sodano, and I'm a personal, are we good?
I think so.
All right.
Yeah.
We're going to check. We have a couple minutes before we get started. I'm a personal finance expert and the founder from Sheep to Shark. Look at you guys can see my logo back there. I'm super excited. So let's see who's in the chat right now. Let's check it out. Oh, Brooke from PA just had a huge thunderstorm. Yeah. Oh, Miss Brooke, we almost canceled this webinar because we had a tornado warning this afternoon. I was in the elevator at my building and this older woman was like, yeah, there's going to be a tornado tonight. So I stayed here and it rained really hard and it was nervous for a minute. Yeah. Beth, warm and muggy in Tulsa, but no tornadoes, which is great news. I mean, every day that there's not a tornado is a great day, pretty much. All right, who else is here? Janet, Alice, Brooke Miller, 2 Brooks. That's cool. All right, so we are just about to get started. We have about another 90 seconds to go. So for those of you guys who are new, my name is Brie Sodano. I'm a personal finance expert. I'm the founder from Sheep to Shark. I'm super excited about this webinar today, the invisible system to stop bleeding money and start stacking cash. We're going to go over this, but 78% of Americans report living paycheck to paycheck. So I know that this is a problem that affects so many people, and I'm just excited to do this. Is it on, Alyssa?
Hold on, let me see what happens when it goes live.
All right. So we are like, we're seconds away from getting started. Seconds. It's sometimes cutting out. From Janet. Janet, what do you mean it's sometimes cutting out? I don't know if that was about the weather or about any of our technology.
Facebook's working.
All right. Okay, so we are on Facebook today too. So hello everyone. My name is Brie Sodano. Thank you for joining me today. I'm super excited. Jazz hands excited about this. The invisible system to stop bleeding money and start stacking cash. All right. So we are going to get into it. I'm going to share my screen with you guys and say, all right. Oh, all right. Give me just 1 second there. Oh, we got to go all the way up to the beginning on this. Sorry, guys. Here I am. All right. So again, feel free to ask questions as we go. I will be answering them. If I can answer them as we go, that's fine. Otherwise, I'll be answering them at the end. I want to make sure that you guys get as much out of this as I can humanly possibly give you. So please feel free to type in the questions. My wonderful counterpart is here, and she will be monitoring Facebook, and she'll be helping me there. So if you guys have questions on Facebook, please ask. I want to answer them. I want you guys to get as much out of this as possible. All right. So the invisible system to stop bleeding money and start stacking cash. The reason why you guys are here. Budgets and cash flow envelope systems don't work because your brain hates budgets. So these are the reasons that I came up with this system, is because budgets don't work. Debt-free is not the starting point to building wealth. It's just not. I feel like being debt-free is like wearing your skinny pants. Like, it's a nice idea, but to have that be the starting point of your journey is just crazy talk. And so then I'm going to teach you the last part, is the invisible system to stop bleeding money and start stacking cash. And this is the same system that I teach my clients. And so you guys are probably all here because money problems suck. And what I am going to tell you is that it's probably not a lack of resources. It is a cash flow management problem. People come to see me with the exact same problem, no matter how much money they make. From $40,000 all the way up to $400,000. It's usually not a shortage. It's never a shortage. Okay, so common cash flow problems. If you feel like you open up your statements and wonder if your identity's been stolen, but then you remember that you did all that and you went there and you ate that and the kids did need those shoes, and you have credit card debt, and you check your bank account online when you're in line to like buy groceries or when you're thinking about making a martini purchase. If you pay overdraft fees or late payment fees, or you are not saving or spending money out of savings, these are all common cash flow problems. These happen to a lot of people. And so mastering cash flow is the only way to make progress toward financial independence. Now, when I say financial independence, I mean when you have enough money working for you, like that your money is rolling and rolling, and it's creating enough that you can live off of it. Like your living expenses are covered just from your money. That is real financial independence. And managing your cash flow is the only way to really get there. Because even if you get a ton of money, if you don't know how to manage it, it's all gonna get spent. Funny story, today I saw on the news, a man won $125 million in the lotto. And do you know what he did with $250,000? True story. I saw it in the news. He dumped $250,000 of manure on his boss's lawn. He got arrested for it. And so that was what he chose to do with $250,000. And that man, I'm sure in 3 years will be like 87% of lottery winners and bankrupt. Okay. So what I want to tell you before we get started is that budgets fail, and it's not your fault. And listen, I get it that you don't want to live like a pauper. Like, I get it. Nobody wants that. And what I want to say is that when you understand money systems, you can stop being screwed by like the establishment, banks, and other things. Like you stop being in trouble with money. We're going to get Sallie Mae and the credit cards off your back. And you know that you need a system that works in real life for real life people. All right. So in the next 60 minutes, who have busy lives, without budgeting, without cash envelopes, without living like a pauper, or without sucking the fun out of life. So I'm going to show you how to manage the money with all those things. Okay. And so if you stay to the end, I'm going to send you some really cool worksheets for you to get started on your own. All right. So a little bit about me is I worked in the nonprofit sector for 10 years before I learned how to, or before I became a financial advisor. There's only 2 points during my career at the Boys and Girls Club that are worth telling you about. The first one was I was super happy. I was the team director. I was going into work like 1 p.m. and working till like 7:30 or 8 o'clock. I was getting paid to read excerpts from Twilight, the book about vampires, and playing like Wii with teenagers, and I was super happy. I loved going to work every day. I was thrilled to be there. The only problem was I was making about $40,000 a year, and so that wasn't enough for me to be able to really like stretch it and be content. Like I had a mortgage and a baby and all, and yeah. And so I learned how to trade stock options. I taught myself how to trade stock options, and that was how I made up the difference in the shortfall of cash flow. Now, the second time worth telling you about at the Boys and Girls Club was when I burned out. I was exhausted. I was unhappy. I wasn't being paid what I was worth. And I was just truly, I would get like a hot pit of anxiety every Sunday. And so I didn't like going there anymore. And so I took a job with Edward Jones, which is one of the major financial advising institutions in the country. And I got all my licenses. I got my 7 and my 66, my insurance licenses. And what I learned working as an advisor is that most people don't have a money problem that goes something like, Brie, I have so much extra money. Can you please pick out my investments for me? I don't have the time or knowledge or wherewithal to do that. So if you could take my extra money and invest it, right? Doesn't that sound like a really nice problem to have? Most of the people I was working with they wanted to save and invest, but they couldn't because they had credit cards or they had student loans. Most people had money issues that weren't solved by investments. And so the more I got into this, the more I loved it. Fixing money problems is my favorite. And so March last year, I started my own firm and I just doing financial problem solving. And so I've built this system because I've watched so many clients try and fail to manage their money. And I just realized that budgets don't work and other like systems that are out there don't work. The printables off Pinterest are not good. And so I made this system and that I'm teaching you guys today. So who this workshop is for. So if you make good money, but it seems to disappear, if you have student loans, credit cards, or other debt that's weighing on you, if you feel overwhelmed or frustrated, if you know that you could be doing better, like if you know that you're on the hook for this a little bit. If you have a growth mindset, and if you've tried this and it didn't work, if you've tried printing stuff off of Pinterest, your printables, and if you're ready to make a change, you have to be ready, willing, and able to consider making a change. So who this workshop is not for, if you want to get rich by being cheap, this isn't really going to help you. If you'd rather complain or make excuses rather than take action, then this isn't going to help you. If you're looking to get rich quick, we're not talking about making any extra money here. We're going to talk about managing what you got. So this isn't for you. And if you don't want to work or grow, that's pretty much it. All right. I see a lot of activity happening in the chat box, but we're going to take the questions toward the end. But please feel free to ask questions as we go so that way I can answer them at the end for you guys. All right, so before we get started, some little house rules. Please minimize all the other tabs and distractions on your computer. Get a notebook and a pen. We're gonna move fast. If you guys can probably hear me talking, I had an espresso before this just to be super pumped. And so we're gonna go fast. I have a lot of material to give you and to cover today. All right, so let's get started. All right, so did this sound like you? Did you do everything right? Did you go to school and work hard and do all this stuff and do everything right, and you just feel like there's not enough money left after paying your bills? Do you feel overwhelmed when you try to get it straightened out and you don't really know where to start? Maybe do you feel like money makes the rules in your life, like it's a dictator, like, oh, I have to ask my money. Can I go out tonight? Money, what do you think? If you went to college to be able to have a good life, and that's just not really panning out for you the way that you thought it was. And if you make payments on your debt, but they never seem to be going down, If you make enough money to save, but it doesn't happen, if you've tried budgeting and it didn't work, if you stress or worry about money, maybe if you've argued with your spouse, if money, again, is a dictator of too many of your decisions, and maybe you have a weird relationship with money where you kind of hate it, but then you love it, and then you need it, and you want it to come back, but then you hate it again, and you think it's not important, right? So mixed messages. And so if that sounds like you, imagine what your life is going to be like when you're crystal clear on how much money it takes to invest and how much money it takes to pay the bills and how many dollars you need to actually save to project emergencies. And what it's going to be like when you can actually go on vacation and it's paid for in cash and it's nice and easy and you don't have to feel bad about ordering margaritas while you're on the beach. And you know exactly how many dollars you can spend each week or each paycheck, and without feeling bad about it, without ruining the rest of your system. When you're actually making progress financially toward your life goals, when you tell your money what to do instead of money being the dictator for you, when you're confident about how much you can spend and how much you should be saving, and it feels good for you to be doing both. And when you start to see possibilities and opportunities instead of limitations and holdbacks. You know, that seems really nice, right? Okay, so what would it mean for you? So this is Lou. Lou is one of my first clients, and we put together to attack his credit cards in a very strategic manner. And his credit cards are nearly gone. And once that happens, he is planning on hiking the Appalachian Trail, and that's literally in progress. The plans are made. It's going to happen next spring. We did some work around his student loans. We put a strategy in place for that. And we just started to manage his money because he was spending a little bit too much going out for snacks, going out to dinner. And so we reined a little bit of that in without having him have to give it up completely. So what I want to say is financial independence is possible. There's a lot of different ways to get to it. And the more clear you get on your money, the bigger the bigger your perception and your outlook on money becomes. And so there's some just ideas that I've worked with clients is to use an investment property to pay off your student loans. That's especially good if you have a ton of student loans. Let the stock market do some of the work for you. Let the dividends pay for some of your bills. Okay, you want to choose to work because you want to go there, not because you have to. I call FU money like FU money is always nice. It allows you to maintain control of your life and not be dependent on a job working for somebody who's maybe less intelligent than you. If you want to pay your bills without anxiety, take your kids out for ice cream. Like these are all things that you have to manage your cash flow to do to stop bleeding. So that way you can do these things and feel good about all of them. All right. So you're here because you make enough money and you're ready to be good at it. You don't want to be bad with money anymore. You've tried budgets or you've tried cash envelopes and it didn't work. And you want to be rich and need some help getting there. And when I say rich, I mean you want to live your life fully and completely. Rich means something different to every single person. So there's no dollar amount that constitutes rich. I just wanted to say that. If you don't want to steal ketchup or be a crazy couponer, great. And if you still want to enjoy your life, lattes and vacations. So what I want to say before we get started, results that we're going to talk about are not typical. And the reason is because results come from taking action, not from learning. Reading the recipe doesn't get the cake baked, friends. So I'm going to walk you through the system that we're using to get great results for my clients. But please understand that my clients are taking action and that if you just watch this but you don't do anything, you're going to get nada, nothing. So the thing is, understanding material is easy, but that doesn't get the results. The results come from doing it, taking action, deciding to make a change, and then executing on it. All right, so what we're going to cover today is 3 different truth bombs. So budgets don't work in real life. Debt-free is not a requirement for wealth building or for saving. And the invisible cash flow system. All right, truth bomb 1. Budgets and money envelopes don't work in real life. Did you know that 39% of Americans report having no savings at all? Another 39% report having outstanding credit card debt. 69% of Americans report having less than $1,000 saved. 55% of people 55 and older have zero retirement savings. And another 78% of Americans report living paycheck to paycheck. So we know that 78% of people, so that's like almost 8 people in a room of 10, are living paycheck to paycheck. So this problem is big. It's pervasive. It's with everybody. And you know what's crazy is we get so embarrassed and shameful about it that we don't talk about it. And this is a problem that almost everybody has, and nobody's even talking about it. All right. So there are 3 main reasons budgets don't work. So the first is how you start a budget. If you start with a blank sheet of paper and a pen, your budget is doomed for failure. And the reason is because your mental accounting is just not correct. Human beings' brain is not meant to use a budget that way. So your mental accounting is simply not accurate. And there's nothing to really do about that. It just is what it is. So that's the first reason budgets fail, is because people start with a blank sheet of paper, and it doesn't work that way. The second thing is budgets are really a business tool. They're meant to be used at a table with all of your numbers, and that's how you're going to make your decisions, right? And so in real life, we're not making decisions at a table looking at all of our numbers. We're making decisions in the car, on the fly, in line at the grocery store. We're making decisions at a point when we don't have access to our entire budget. And so budgets don't really work for that. Now, the third reason budgets don't work is because we forget about things that have become habits. So you probably have some habits in your spending that bring you zero joy and you could totally get rid of, and you forget about them. And so when I ask anybody, all right, well, where do you think like the money's going? What do you think the problem is? People immediately tell me the thing that they love. Like, oh, it's my yoga classes that are the problem. I'm like, it's not it. It's not your yoga classes, man. And so we attack budgets from the spot that gives us the most happiness, and we leave this like the things that don't make us any happier in our budgets. And so that's another reason why budgets don't work. They feel restrictive, and it's just not a good system. So cash envelope systems. So these don't really work in real life either. And it's mostly because they're archaic. This is stuff that our grandparents came up with in like the 1940s. And life was much different. Life was one income, one paycheck, cash was accepted everywhere. And this just isn't the life that we live anymore. So to operate a cash envelope system requires so much running around. You have to go to the bank. You have to go pay for this in cash. You forgot your cash. You have to run home to grab your envelopes so that way you could go to the store. Another thing is it just encourages a rob Peter to pay Paul mentality. Oh, I don't have money in my grocery envelope. I'm going to take it out of this envelope. It doesn't change the thinking. It just puts a commitment device in. And it doesn't match our digital lifestyles. I mean, I can pay my bills from my cell phone waiting in line for something. I mean, I buy stuff off of Amazon from my cell phone, doing all of my banking online. So these cash envelope systems, they just don't match our digital lifestyles. They're just not good anymore. And so the system that I'm going to teach you takes kind of the best of both, because budgets do have some upsides. They are good for thinking ahead. They're great for projection, and they're good for clarity. And you have to be crystal clear about where you're starting from to be able to get from where you're going. Like imagine a GPS, like it needs to know where you are to tell you how to get to where you're going. And cash flow envelopes have a commitment device. So you have to actively choose to rob Peter to pay Paul, right? And so making choices with your money is super duper powerful. This is where the magic of money management comes in, when you're choosing what to do with your money. All right, so truth bomb number 2, debt-free is not the first step to building wealth. Now, there are some gurus out there that are telling everybody that they need to be debt-free like as fast as they can and to really go at it. And this doesn't work. Listen, baby steps are for people who want to be better at being poor, is pretty much the deal. The idea that you have to pay off all your debt before you start saving holds you back. And here's why. It's because what you focus on grows. And when you put all your attention towards your debt, what ends up happening is you put all your cash flow towards your debt. And then what ends up happening is you run into real life. you were unprepared for something. The $1,000 that you had in your savings account wasn't enough to cover the emergency that you had. And so you maintained the same habit of needing money. And so since you don't have money saved, you end up needing money and you go right back into credit card debt. And this is a cycle that people will try to pay off their debt and focus all their cash flow on debt for a very, very long time. And so it just doesn't work in real life unless you have like $3,000 worth of debt. But most of us, that's not where we're starting from. And so we need to look at where we're starting from to pick the best strategy. Snowball is a great strategy, but it doesn't work for everything. It especially doesn't work for student loans. And so listen, to really change your relationship with debt, you have to change the habit of needing money. Debt is the result of needing money, which is the opposite of having money. And so when you want to get out of debt, you have to build the habit of having money. You have to start saving money to replace the habit of needing money. And so getting rid of your debt might take a little bit longer, but it's going to be sustainable, and it's going to be able to, you're going to be able to get rid of it in like forever, lasting changes. All right. So to get rid of debt forever, there's a few things that you need to do. The first is you really need to change your mindset. You need to focus on saving, and you have to match the savings toward what you want. Savings for the sake of savings is the most unsatisfactory thing to do with your money ever. Like, you have to know what the money is going for, so that way when you're tempted to use it, you're making a choice. And so that's part of it too. So what you focus on grows. So stop focusing on debt, start focusing on savings, and start focusing on building the life that you really want with your money. So the second thing that we're going to do, and I'm going to show you in the next slide, is a strategy. So you want to choose the best strategy for paying off your debt most efficiently. And that's going to depend on where you're starting from. Okay. Then you need to implement the strategy. So put a plan in place and do it. And you kind of want to set it and forget it. I mean, obviously we have to pay attention to the debt and make sure that it's going down and make sure that the system runs smoothly. But once it's set and your plan is operating, you don't want to keep focusing on your debt, feeling bad about it. Shame. Most people have so much shame and embarrassment around their debt. And what I want to say about that is that shame is a paralyzing emotion. If you feel shame around something, you're not moved to do anything about it. So we have to let some of that stuff go. So for your behavior, you have to change the habits that cause the debt in the first place. And so this, again, requires another mindset shift. You have to stop thinking that you don't have enough and start thinking that you do have enough. And the reason is because when you feel like you don't have enough money, you will immediately get rid of your money, and then you won't have any money. And then you will, like, it reinforces. It's like a cycle. And listen, that sounds like it's crazy, but I'm telling you it's true. I've had clients who go the entire year paycheck to paycheck, they get a sweet tax refund, and it's gone like within a week of hitting their bank account, because they're just getting rid of their money. They're buying stuff, they're letting it go, they're lending it to their kids, they're giving money away, all this stuff happens. So here are the 7 strategies to get rid of debt forever. Need a little sip of water. All right, so the first is a holding pattern. Now, a holding pattern is fine in the short term. Now, some people find themselves in a holding pattern when they really should be looking at some other options, but a holding pattern is basically when you're paying the minimums on everything and you're just kind of floating for a period of time. And this is good when you're expecting a circumstance to change. And so if you're in a holding pattern until you graduate and you're expecting a big raise, okay, cool. Or if you're in a holding pattern because you're going to move soon and you need to save the extra money, all right, cool. That's what a holding pattern is, and that's usually when it's good. So the snowball method is when you focus all of any extra payments that you'd be making beyond the minimums on one card at a time, smallest to largest. And so if you know that you usually throw an extra $10 or $15 on each of your cards, and so what you're going to do is take all the extra $10 or $15 and do them one card at a time, smallest to largest. And then when that payment is finished, you snowball it to the next payment, and you just keep the same debt payment until all your debts are gone. And so the snowball with the credit card shuffle is the snowball plan, except for the main difference is that you would add a 0% balance transfer. And that's usually good when you have a lot of little cards, you know, like a Macy's card, a Kohl's card, a this, a that, a that. And then you have like one or two big cards. And what this allows you to do is make progress on the big card while you're paying off the small cards. All right. And so a personal loan and 401k, these two strategies, you're borrowing money to pay back money that you've borrowed. And so this is a bigger, you know, you have to really think about this before you get into it, because they both run the risk of doubling the size of your problem. Because now, if you do that, then you're going to have this one payment for the credit cards that you paid off. But now all of your credit cards are going to have available balances. And so that's where the risk comes in. You have to be very, very conscious to change your habits and make sure that you're able to stick with it before you do these things, because otherwise you risk getting into twice as much debt trouble. So a personal loan, you would go to a bank a bank, and you would put all of your credit cards, you'd pay off all of your credit cards, and then you'd get one payment and you would pay it back typically over 5 years. Same thing for 401k loan. You'd borrow the money from yourself, from your retirement, and then you'd pay yourself back over the course of the 5 years. The cost of doing that is the market investments, and then the interest that you pay goes back to yourself. So the last two are more drastic. And so there's a consolidation service, and when you're in way over your head and the interest is too much and you're really struggling to make payments, you can go see a consolidation service, and you're going to hire them to negotiate your interest rates down to zero and to close out your cards. And there are some very severe consequences to that, to your credit, mostly just to your credit. And then the last option is bankruptcy. And then you're going to hire a lawyer, and they're going to wipe away a lot of the consumer debt, and that's how that goes. And so those are things that you are to be avoided. But you know what? The thing about bankruptcy is sometimes it just needs to happen. I've watched a lot of people struggle for something that wasn't simply just not solvable for way too long because they had really bad feelings about bankruptcy, which makes sense. But the thing is those clients had very drastic life changes, and they didn't, and credit card companies are allowed to charge 20% because the investments are risky, and that's the risk that they take. So the main thing to remember, no matter which strategy you choose, is you have to end the habit of needing money and start the habit of having money. And the habit of needing money, start the habit of having money. All right, so Miss Marianne came and worked with me, and we set up the system that I'm going to show you guys on the next slide, and it really worked for her. She's built her savings and investments. She's got another money where she doesn't have to worry about her unexpected costs, you know, and she paid off some of her cards, and she's on track, and she's going slow and steady toward the debt while she's building up her savings, and she's starting investing, and she's really rocking it. She's doing really well just from having a plan. So remember that being debt-free is like wearing your skinny pants. It is not the end-all be-all to your financial health. The same way being in your skinny pants isn't the end-all be-all end-all for your actual health. It's nice when it happens, but it's a lot of doing to maintain that, right? All right, so the third truth bomb that I wanted to teach you guys is the system to stop bleeding money and start stacking cash. This is like the reason why you guys are all here. So if budgets and cash envelopes had a baby that only got the good genes and was born in the digital era, that would be this invisible system. So you want to start to think about your money in 5 different types of money. Imagine buckets or these puzzle pieces. So you want to order what money goes where in priority and know exactly how much needs to go into what account and for what purpose. So you want to start to separate these things out in your mind, because one of the biggest problems that people face with their money, why they can't find their money, it disappears, is because they have all of their money going into one checking account where they're trying to pay the bills, do their spending, and do their savings, and it just doesn't work. So the first place that you want your money to go is into your keep accounts. So this is money that you're going to save to invest. Right? You have to pay yourself first, and that's how this works. So you figure out how much money needs to be invested for you to reach financial independence, and then your money goes there first. before you've done anything else with it. Then the second thing that you're going to do with your money is use some money to pay your bills, right? Of course, you have to take care of your obligations every single month, the stuff that you need to use now. Now, the third thing that you're going to do with your money is over here in working capital. Now, this is going to be the savings account that's attached to your checking account. And this is where most people drop the ball financially. Your working capital account needs to account for things like your taxes, insurance, your lawn and snow care, your heating oil, your water, any 401k loans, anything that's got an irregular payment. So it's going to be your irregular bills. Then you want to think about the foreseeable disasters, right? And so whether or not you're going to need a new car or home repairs or car repairs or vet bills or co-pays, right? Then you have to think about what does your family really cost? You know, so that way you're prepared for weddings. If you have birthday parties or if you host family gatherings at your house, these things they all really add up and they become expensive. So you want to think about them in advance so that way you have money saved for that stuff. And then the last thing you want to think about is your own self-care. A lot of times, my hair, we don't do that. I don't do that every single month. Or massages, probably not every month. Or clothes, probably not every month. But they're real expenses that need to be addressed. So you want to put money there for the things that you actually need, right? Then the fourth step you want your money to take is important things. This is money that you're going to spend later. Now, this is another area where people really get messed up because they have to put money aside. So most people are not saving money for vacations, which are super important to them. They're not saving for their kids' college, even though they value education, or they're not saving for home renovations. And so you want to look at your money and start to think about these things and allocate some money for them, and just set that up. And so the last part is pocket money. So you want to have some money for your pocket every single week for autonomous spending. So that way you can buy your lattes and buy your, get your nails done if that's what you choose, or do whatever you want with your money. Buy a sandwich here and there. And so the thing is that no matter how much money you make, you are going to have less in pocket money than you're used to or what you like doing because you're going to be saving for these other things. Now, what ends up happening for most people is that all of the money that they spend goes in these two. It's their bills and their pocket money, and they totally neglect any savings for later use. And so what ends up happening is that they go into debt for things that they should have had in savings. They should have had, money set aside for these things. And so then they're in debt. And then then your bills get bigger, so it becomes harder to save. And it's this vicious cycle. And so you have to start where you're at and just start setting money aside. But you have to know where you're going to so it all makes sense. Clarity is the biggest reason that people don't make progress, is because they never really figured out exactly where they want to end up. All right. Okay. So we have to get clear on the numbers. Now, the truth is in the transactions. And so when I talk about blank sheet budgets, they don't work because you're not looking at the truth. If you ask anybody what they actually spend in groceries, they're going to give you their best guess. They're going to be like, I usually spend $150 a week, just about. And that's never true. It's never the truth. They could be close. But again, our mental accounting is flawed. So you have to really start by looking in the transactions to see what the truth is. So that way you know where to make cuts or where not to make cuts. Then you have to fully understand what your actual expenses are. Know your nut, because you have to cover your nut every month. Then you project for the unexpected. You think ahead. You think about the entire year. All right, well, what about this? What about this? Am I going to have any weddings to go to this year? Do I have to do anything? And so that way you can add up all the money that you're going to need and start setting aside what you can. Then you want to plan for the fun stuff, because this is like the entire point of having money, is to be able to enjoy it and enjoy your life. And then you want to keep your pocket cash under control, because that is the area that most people are super out of control with their money. Melissa Selvia. All right. So she was my client. We're done working together now. And they were not saving anything for retirement at all. We put in, and they had some catch up to do. So they're saving 20%. And this was all money that was literally just bleeding all over the place. They were spending so much money all over. Like, the most inefficient situation. And they are awesome people. They don't suck. Like, they're great. But just the way that they were managing money, they were both in and out of the exact same bank account, and stuff was just getting lost in the sauce, man. And so they're now in their dream house. They're managing their expenses. They're saving for retirement, and they're even saving for a family vacation. And that's like the point of all of this. It's to get all this stuff under control, because you have enough money. We all have enough money to do the things, and it's just a matter of managing it and making it do what we want it to do. All right. So then so how to make the system actually work is you automate the savings, but you spend the money manually. So you want to set up the bill pay system through your bank. So that way you can go in and manually pay your bills twice a month, super easy, super fast. Then you want to set up direct deposits, so that way the money goes into each of those 5 accounts right from your paychecks into the right accounts, and you don't have to think about it. You want to invest your money automatically, but pay your bills manually, and you want to use a debit card or cash for your pocket spending. All right, so Gina Wallace came, and so I did Cash Flow Day live in my office a few weeks ago, and she came to the class, and it was really great. She got a lot of clarity from this. It was just changing the way that she had to look at things. We found a huge bleed for her. And it was stuff that when I said, well, would you mind stopping? It was shopping. Would you mind going and stop spending that much money on those things? She was like, yeah, absolutely. It was stuff that didn't bring her any joy. So when we saw that there was enough money that she could actually fund her retirement and fund her vacations with the money she was literally spending at stores, she was happy to not do that anymore. Like, that trade-in was fantastic for her. Okay. So budgets and cash envelopes and manifesting money doesn't work. We didn't really talk about manifesting money, but there's a lot of stuff out there right now with the law of attraction and manifesting money. And listen, if you work with me, you will find that I truly believe that the law of attraction is real and it works. But the thing is sitting around manifesting money, if you don't know how to manage it, doesn't help. Because if you end up getting, like, if you're not good with a little money, having more money doesn't help. It just makes the mess bigger and bigger. It's counterproductive. The idea of debt-free is keeping you broke, because it's a misallocation of cash. You're putting all your cash toward the debt, and then life happens and you're right back on the credit cards. And the invisible system is phenomenal. So today I promised to teach you the exact system that I teach to my clients and that they use to manage their money, pay off their debt, and they do this all without feeling like a pauper. So who wants to get their money stuff together? So now you have a choice, right? You can stay where you are, or you can decide to make a change. And so what I want to say before we get into what I have to offer for you guys is that information alone doesn't get the results. 78% of Americans are failing at money. 78% of Americans are reporting living paycheck to paycheck. That is crazy. And listen, if you could do this with just a Google search, 78% of people wouldn't be failing at this. So it takes action. It takes doing. So if you want to learn and do how to save money for investing, how to pay the bills without stress, how to save for emergencies and fun stuff, and still have money for your pocket, this is the way to do it. All right. Alyssa, do you see the questions? All right.
No, there's none right now.
All right. Were you in the chat? All right, guys, I just want to check to make sure I answer all the questions that you guys have as we go. All right. I guess I'm low. All right. So introducing the invisible system to stop bleeding money and start stacking cash. Woo! I'm so excited about this. All right, controlling your money is the first step toward building wealth. It is about clarity. You need to use your money for what you really want. So this system gives you control without adding more to your to-do list. So who is this for? If you're ready for change, if you're willing to do the work and take some actions, listen, you get to start where you are. There's no need to be perfect. You just have to start making moves. Most of the time when I do this for clients, we don't get to fill in all the boxes right away. Sometimes there's no money for important things because we're going to pay off some debt and then we can get started. That's the way this works. You have to start where you are. You don't get to start at perfect. Just like on your health journey, you don't just get to start at your perfect skinny pants, you know? Kristen Marie came to the cash flow workshop and she just thought she was bad at money and she really didn't realize how to do it. This method, she tried budgeting. She told me about her budgets. She tried it, didn't work. And so it's organized, it's easy, and it just makes the money manageable. So that way on your day-to-day, all you have to think about is your pocket money. And she was embarrassed and she had a lot of shame around money. And that's what I said before about that is that shame stops people from making moves. So after 2 weeks, she feels confident and she's game changer. She's changing her relationship with money. So listen, this course is the first time I'm offering this online. Most of the time you have to come in and work with me for 6 months one-on-one. And that's a beautiful thing too. And the reason I'm doing this is my career goal. The reason I'm in business is I want to help 1 million people with their money. I want to give away $100 million for my career. Until I recognize, I ran the numbers. I will die first if everybody has to come into my office and do this. So this is the first time that this is going to be online. So I'm super excited right now. And there's extra really cool stuff about how this is going to happen, you know, because we're kind of going to get to co-create. That's it. So the first week, this course is going to roll out over 6 weeks. So the first week we're going to do saving to invest. So we're going to run numbers. We're going to get right into it. How much money does it take for you to get to financial independence? If you are saving, if you're saving enough, if you're not saving enough, how much more do you need to save? What's the best type of account for you to be investing in? And how do we do it? How do you get the paperwork set up, right? So that's week 1. Week 2 is about paying the bills. So we're going to get clear on how much your bills cost exactly each month. So how to even out your cash flow, end the feast or famine cycles. And we're going to do that with a bill calendar. And how to organize your bills for maximum efficiency. And then we're going to talk about setting up a system online so that way you can easily and quickly manage this in just a few minutes a month. Part 3 will happen at the 3rd week. This is going to be how to think about the projections, how to manage the unexpected expenses and what they might cost you, how to run the numbers for how much you should be saving each month. And again, how to set the system up online, right? Week 4 is important things. So we're going to plan out vacations. I'm going to show you like real life examples of how to run the numbers for these things that you may want to be saving for. And listen, I understand that it's not all peaches and cream all the time and that not everybody is going to get to start with all of these things. And so some of this is based on, well, is your cash flow positive? Do you have tight cash flow or negative cash flow? And we're going to be going through strategies to adjust to improve. Okay, so week 5 is about pocket cash. So how much should you be spending each week and each month? And how do you balance date nights, groceries, dinners out, and gas? And how do you manage the bad habits that have been leaving you broke? Like, where do you start with that? Because just trying to just give up bad habits just doesn't work, right? Have you ever tried quitting anything? It works until your willpower runs out. Now, week 6 is really where the magic happens because this is where we start to put all of the numbers together. And then how do we set the system up so that way you guys don't have to actively manage it. You kind of set it up once and then your system, I mean, it still takes some manual doing, but the bulk of the system will run for you. When to move money, when to leave it alone, how to manage the paperwork, and how to make this stuff all go. And what happens if you're not perfect to start out with? What do you do? And then you're going to get the super cool spreadsheets and workbook. So the workbook is going to have all the numbers that you need, and you're going to get that digitally. So that way next year when your numbers are better, you can redo your workbook, right? And then the super cool spreadsheets to track your money, track your progress, and they do the math for you. So it's pretty snazzy. And so this stuff is altogether is a $1,497 value. And the reason for that is because you are going to find so much money. You're going to, like, most of my clients are finding $1,500 a month that they just don't know where it's going. And even clients making much less money, they're finding it. They're finding where their money's been going. So you get the 6 different parts. So saving to invest, you get bills, working capital, important things, pocket money, the invisible system, all the tools. Now listen, because this is a beta and you guys are the first people that are going to be going through this course, you guys are going to get an extra super duper cool value. So for these 6 weeks, I'm going to be live to answer questions and to coach you and to take great care of you in a private Facebook group every Thursday. And so this is a really big deal. Clients that come to see me in my office, they pay me $350 an hour to do this for them. And it's worth it. And they're happy when they leave. So the way that it'll work is you can send me any questions in advance, or you can just come live for the one-on-one help. I'm only going to give this bonus to the first 20 people. After that, then no more. So the first 20 people are going to get the beta price and the beta bonus. And so this system puts you in charge of your money. You're going to find where your money has been going. Now listen, the system is good on its own, but strategy, mindset, and habits need to be addressed too. And so I'm adding in bonuses because I recognize that the practical solution, it still needs to be operated by imperfect humans who have other, so the first bonus that you're going to get is 7 strategies to get rid of your credit card debt. So we went over the 7 strategies, and I'm going to show you in detail how each of these 7 strategies work. I'm going to teach you when it's appropriate, and I'm going to show you and tell you how to get it done. So that way you can get fast results. Now, I had clients in that came to see me a couple weeks ago. We changed the strategy that they've been using on their credit cards, and they're going to save $4,300 a year, $4,300 a year just on credit card interest. So if you have $10,000 in credit cards, you're probably paying $2,000 a year in interest, right? It adds up, the credit card interest. And so the faster you can get rid of this credit card debt without putting it back on, the better off you're going to be financially and the happier you're going to be in your life. So the second bonus is breaking the scarcity cycles. So there's some mindset activities. You have to shift the way that you've been thinking about money. We all have this idea that there's not enough money, that there's not enough time in the day, that there's not enough. And that is a huge part of the problem with people and their money. And it's pervasive. It's in everybody talks about how there's not enough, right? And so we're going to go over different money mindset activities so that you can start to pull to the surface all the underlying thoughts about money that have been in your programming. We're going to work on setting your life goals and then making your money goals match. And then we're going to talk all about self-sabotage, and that's like one of my favorite activities. And then there's a couple others, but for the sake of time, we're not going to go over all of them right now. All right. So Chris Ricci says, it's been a pleasure working with me, and I'm bright and talented, and you guys can read this. And so he loves the group. He's an active member in the group. And so you can get a chance to talk to him. So bonus 3 is about easy habit changes. Now, when you're changing habits, there's 3 parts to a habit loop. You have a trigger, your routine, and the reward. Now, so when you're changing your habits, you have to think about why this keeps happening. Do you know how many people I've talked to that have paid off their credit cards and then the credit cards came right back on? They paid off something else and then they ran up some other expense, or they've given up something just to go right back to it. And so when you're thinking about your habits, you have to change your habits and replace them with something that gets you the same result. So this is a silly little story that I'm going to tell you. So I had a client come to see me, and she was spending about $600 a month at Marshall's or TJ Maxx or like Kohl's. And I was like, oh, what are you buying? Like so much, like $600 every month. And listen, this is common. And she wasn't even buying stuff for her anymore. her closets, her house was filled. She was buying stuff for her son and for her grandkids. And I was like, okay, so like walk me through your shopping. So she was going to spend time with her sister, going shopping as their routine, and the reward was that she was thinking of her family who she loves, and she was buying them gifts. And so when we looked at that, we replaced spending money for spending time. So she started taking her grandson on Saturday mornings, giving mom a break, which was really like, if you've given a 5-year-old boy clothes, he pretty much thinks you hate him. And what we did was we changed the routine to spend time with her sister. And so that way she gets a $600 a month cost savings while simultaneously being able to spend time with her sister and, you know, show love to her family. And so if we had gone about that a different day that didn't meet those exact same needs, it wouldn't have worked because she would still be looking for those things. All right, so we're going to talk about money tracking, so that way you guys can see the habits that are a problem. We're going to talk about efficiency, so that way you can start to look at your habits in terms of what's useful and what's wasteful. We're going to talk about gratitude and so much more in this bonus module. And so easy habit changes there. All right. And then you're going to get another free bonus. So you're going to get access to the Shark School Facebook community group. And this is above and beyond the private group where you're going to get to ask me questions and go live with me every single week. This is a great tribe. It's really wonderful to have people who are like-minded and who are on a similar journey and who aren't embarrassed and shameful about their money and who are all looking to improve together. So what you get is the $1,497 cash flow day, the invisible system, the 6 parts of the program. So it's about saving to invest, paying the bills, working capital, saving for important things, pocket cash. You're going to get all the super cool spreadsheets. You're going to get the community. You're going to get bonus 1, 7 strategies to pay off debt and keep it off forever. Bonus 2 is breaking the scarcity cycle. All those wonderful mindset activities to really dredge up like why this stuff keeps happening to you. Bonus 3, easy habit changes. It's a $2,988 value. Plus, since you guys are in the beta course, you are going to get an extra $1,000 of value just for being my first clients on this course. So you're going to get 6 live sessions with me. You can ask me questions in advance, or you can come on live to share your story and like tell me what's going on, and I will answer those questions for you as we go. So listen, the investment for all of this, the $1,497 cash flow day of the system, the 3 bonus modules at $497 for 7 strategies to get rid of credit card debt, $497 for breaking the scarcity cycle, $497 for your habit changes, the $2,988 total value plus the $997 beta bonus just for being my first clients on this course. And you're going to get all of this for only $297. This is a freaking screaming deal. You will find $297 in your budget probably within the first month. So if you guys are ready right now, you can go to the link. They'll be in the chat and on the chat on Facebook, sheep2sharks.com/cforder-form. And so listen, if you're thinking to yourself that it is counterintuitive to spend money to fix a money problem, especially if you're super tight and you don't have the money in your bank account and you're like, am I going to go into debt to figure out how to get rid of my debt? Listen, I understand that that's counterintuitive. I totally get it. And I'm going to tell you something that's the truth. Most of the people that come to see me are in that exact same spot every single, most of the time people are working with me on some sort of credit because they have a money problem. So they're coming to get their money problems fixed. What I want to say is, how much money do you bleed every single month? And when I say bleed, you're overspending in some way. You're not saving what you should be. Money comes in, money comes out. Money comes in, money comes out. And so if you fix the leaky bucket, you're going to be able to accumulate so much more and make so much faster progress. And so sometimes you have to pull an arrow back to let it go forward. And that's part of this. So if you're thinking like, wow, this seems like a great idea, but it seems like also I'd have to put on my credit card. Sometimes you have to take a little investment. It's an investment to be able to reap the rewards, to get the return. So again, it's time to make that choice, whether or not you want to have your money stuffed together or you want to have some excuses, right? So again, you can follow the link below to get the invisible system, sheep2sharks.com/cf order-form. All right, and so if you're nervous, that makes sense. I might be a stranger to you. So listen, you're gonna get a risk-free guarantee, 7 days, no questions asked, ironclad. If you ask for your money back, I'm gonna just give it back to you. And that's how it's gonna go if you're not completely satisfied with that course. And so in 7 days, you're gonna get the first module, you're gonna get to meet me, you're gonna get some of the bonus materials, you're gonna have a really good spot to know whether or not this is a good fit for you. And if it's not, just ask for your money back, it's risk-free. So listen, do-it-yourselfers get low results because habits are hard to change. Like I said this before, information is only part of it. It's the potential. Lasting change comes from repeated exposure to the system. It's doing it. It's having accountability. It's being able to have community and people supporting you and cheering you on and giving a crap about what you do and not being negative. Honestly, it's a huge slowdown for so many of my clients. So you're able to build the momentum and to do this. So I know I taught you all this cool stuff today and you're like, oh, I could totally do this. I just have to do the math. But listen, you're going to need help to really get the great results. The do-it-yourselfers don't get great results. It's just how it goes. Because habits are hard to change. You need to be adjusting it. The bonus materials on habits are going to help you to do this so much. All right. So Jody Podgorski came to the cash flow day too. And this is what she had to say about it. That, I'm changing lives and that I'm helping to educate people and handle their finance and teaching them how important good and bad financial decisions affect in the real world. And she recognizes that nobody ever taught you guys this in school, and so you need to learn it from somewhere, and you need help and support to be able to really get it done. Okay, so again, I hope you're like getting ready. I'm excited about this. So you're gonna get the $1,497 cash flow day system. We're gonna go over all 6 of the modules. You're gonna get the tools, the super cool worksheets, which are yours to keep forever. You're gonna get the workbook. You're gonna get the Facebook community. Then you're going to get the bonus module, 7 strategies to get rid of credit card debt forever. Then you're going to get bonus module 2, which is all about shifting your mindset, breaking that scarcity cycle. Then you're going to get bonus module 3 about changing your habits. If you just change one habit, it can be a huge difference for you financially, especially with the compounding effect over time. And so all of that is worth $2,988, plus you're going to get super extra special beta bonus just for being my first clients on this. And so you're going to get 6 different meetings with me in a Facebook Live where you can ask me questions in advance. If you're not able to make the meeting, I will still answer your questions. Or if you can come on live with me, I will coach you through stuff. I will answer your questions. I will help you all the way, as much as I humanly possibly can, and to be able to manage this cash flow. I want to see you be so successful with this and really tighten up your money and get your money to be working toward what it is that you really want in your life. And so again, the investment is only $297. This is such a screaming deal. It just is. So again, you can follow the link below to get Cash Flow Day, the invisible system, sheep2sharks.com/cs order-form. And now listen, if you're listening to this and you're thinking that an online course is great and it sounds really magical and you're like, I need so much more support, I need to figure out so much more than this. If you want to come and work with me for 6 months, that's a bigger commitment. Obviously, it takes 6 months instead of 6 weeks. But you can fill out an application to do that at briesodano.com. Just going to throw it out there. I only take 5 clients a month. So sometimes there's a wait list, which is fine. All right. So don't bleed one more month. Don't miss another savings opportunity. Don't make more credit card or student loan payments without a strategy, like where you're just wasting your money paying on interest without any hope of it ever actually going away. So again, it's really time to make that choice. You can spend some money and make some progress, or you can have your excuses, or you can try it on your own and it probably won't work. So you have to do it. So sheep2sharks.com/CF order-form is the link to get this. And again, if you need a higher level of service, if you want to come and work with me and be one of my 6-month clients, you can fill out an application at Sodano.com and we can go from there. And so thank you so much for sticking it out all the way to the bitter end with me. The worksheets that I promised you guys will be in your inbox very shortly. And again, I'm just so excited to work with you guys. I'm so pumped, and I'm so excited about Cash Flow Day and this beta course. So if you have any questions, I will be answering them right now. Was there any questions on Facebook?
Not on Facebook, but we do have one in the Zoom room. How do you feel about using credit cards to get travel points, travel hacking, etc.? I always make sure I pay off my credit cards each month, but I feel it dips into my long-term savings.
Okay, so she asked, how do I feel about credit cards for travel points? All right. How do you feel about using credit cards to get travel points, travel hacking, etc.? I always make sure to pay off my credit cards each month, but I feel it dips into my long-term savings. So Miss Janet, that issue really comes down to the travel. It's not about using the credit cards or not using the credit cards. It seems like you're using the credit cards responsibly. So you're getting the points, and that's cool. So really the issue is the travel. It's not the credit cards. It's should you be traveling as often as you're doing it if it's dipping into your long-term savings. And so again, that's really where you want to prioritize your spending, like in the beginning. So that way you're not just impulsively buying like cheap plane tickets because you're going to get some travel points. So I have kind of mixed feelings about points and traveling. Not about traveling. I think traveling is wonderful, but my mixed feelings around points or rewards for credit cards is that the cost of those in terms of your habits are pretty high. Like if you make one mistake, and you pay interest one month, the benefit of the points was kind of outweighed by the cost of the interest. So I don't know, does that answer your question? I hope it does. So there's a few things to it. So if you guys have any other questions or anything, I'm happy to answer. You guys can always get me on Facebook too. Send me a message if you have anything, or shoot me an email if you need any help with anything. All right, so I hope that you guys get this course. I'm super excited to work with you. Oh, do I have another? Oh, thanks for answering. Oh, you're welcome, Janet. I'm excited. All right, guys, I will talk to you later and see you soon.